Is that you, Rona? No. What is up, Jeromes? The Daily Jeromes live stream coming right at you at 11 a.m. Central Time. Thank you very much for coming along. And we got a bunch of Q&A talking about our 6-8 Minnesota Vikings. The best 6-8 team in NFL history. Friday, Christmas Day, pooping down the chimneys in Nowlands. It's going to be a good time. Also, so program announcement. It's going to be the last live stream of the week. Take the rest of the week off. Spend some time with family, holidays, Christmas, all that stuff going on. But we'll be here. We'll be uploading videos sporadically this week, as well as, of course, take a look at the stupid New Orleans Saints. And I know, lose a game, improve draft position, but now at the Saints, Christmas Day, gift, one time. Whew. How many times do we got to teach you this lesson, old man? Drew Brees just like walking out there with his bruised ribs. How much for one rib? Get out of here. But thank you very much for coming along. We'll give a couple shouts. Also, belated Christmas present. So, Teespring store down below. Promo code FLAG, 19% off everything. Hit that up. All right, so Q&A. Let's go. Tyler Trulison. Hey, man, I just want to say I love watching your vids. Keep it up. Huge Vikings fans over here. Hey, thank you. I always will be, don't care what the record is. I will always be cheering them on Sundays. Are you a T-Wolves fan? And if you think, and let's try this again. And if you are, I think you should make a separate channel talking about the Wolves, etc. I'm like a Wolves, well, as I wear a Wolves hat, I'm like a very casual Wolves fan. Like, I don't go out of my way to watch a game. Well, maybe I will with Anthony Edwards now. But, yeah, my prime Wolves fandom was when I was a kid. So, KG, Stephon Marbury, Sam Cassell, Latrell Sprewell can't feed his kids. Like Joe Smith getting a contract on a napkin, costing the Wolves draft picks. Dean Garrett, Chris Carr, Anthony Peeler, Cherokee Parks, Tom Gugliotta. That was a lot of fun back in the day. Flip. R.I.P. Yeah, but I'm definitely, well, I'm not knowledgeable enough about Vikings to have a channel, but I'm definitely not knowledgeable enough about the Wolves to have a channel for that. T-Rag, due to the fact that we have so many selections in the draft this year, do you think we'll trade some bundle up for fewer but higher picks, potentially less than 7, all in for third, fourth rounds? Maybe, but also, if you're selecting players, so say that roughly, we'll say 40 of the roster spots are already spoken for, or generally spoken for, but you can still bring in, stop spamming the chat, man. But if you can bring in some talent that probably would have been at the bottom of the roster, but you get them in the mid rounds, I think that's the course to go. Plus, I think unless you're completely dead set on one guy, gotta have it at the top of the board. I'm always team trade down. Like volume over you can have quantity as well as quality. Like this isn't an either or proposition, but unless that there's say they make a move for Zach for Wilson, they make a move for Trey Lance, etc. Nah. R free. Is secondary depth a big need for next year, especially seeing how one or two abductions? All right. All right. Especially how a couple of key abductions can do. Maybe a solid vet mix in with the young guys. I would love to have Mac Alexander back. I know that Mac left because he was mad at the medical/training staff, the way that they handled his Week 17 injury. But, I mean, Mac played extremely well last night against the Steelers. So I would bring Mackenzie Alexander back for sure. I don't necessarily think that they need to go the veteran route. I do believe in some of the young guys. Not Chris Jones, but Chris Boyd. I like Harrison Hand. Maybe they get Mark Fields back. But I think safety would be more of a need than cornerback. Since the Vikings are, you have Gladney, you have Dantzler. They're going to be your starters in base. Gladney kick inside in nickel. And then you need to find one other cornerback. But yeah, safety, depending on what happens with Anthony Harris, potentially leaving a free agency, you may need to draft a starter like quick. And Harrison Smith is not getting any younger either. So yeah, definitely should double, triple down on defensive backs. Thorvald Johnson. Would you play the starts against the Aints or go with the backups, see what they have for next year? Definitely play the stars. Play to win the game, but also playing to win the game would include playing DJ Wanda more, playing James Lynch at all, yeah, that does factor in. Derek Grundle, but other than that, like, I don't know, who are you really looking for? KJ Osborne? No. That's really about it. Derek Grundle. Thoughts on CJ not making the Pro Bowl? Well, I love CJ Ham, except he's always unappreciated. And since so few teams actually use a fullback anymore, and Kyle Juszczyk just gets by on name recognition, because what happens with coaches and players, especially ones not in the NFC, especially not ones in the NFC West, they're like, oh yeah, Kyle Juszczyk, he must be good because he's been a Pro Bowler before. So that's how legacy like snowballs. It's a sham. It's crap. Otto Mikinen, looking at the cap space and Daniil wanting a fair deal, he will probably get traded, and I don't think that Reef will come back. Not necessarily. So Zimmer getting fired this year or next. With that said, do you think firing Zimmer now would be better than rather than later? Future caps, blah, blah, blah. No. I think Zimmer has done enough towards the end of the season, not really on defense, but pulling themselves out of that 1-5 funk. I think he's earned himself another year. Now, if they had completely tuned him out, maybe, but I don't put the defense all on Zimmer. Now, obviously, the buck stops with the head coach, especially one who's effectively the defense coordinator, but look at the players that they have out there. Shamar Stephen, Jaleel Johnson, Jalen Holmes, Todd Davis has been here for like 2 weeks, even though he's played well. I mean, they're doing it without Barr and Kendricks and Daniil, so sort of give them a mulligan, right, in terms of talent level, due to injuries and attrition and whatnot. Cody Kaiser. Also, it's kind of presumptive that Daniil's going to be traded. I don't necessarily see that. Also, I do see Reef coming back. I think that Kyle Rudolph and Anthony Barr would be most likely to leave. Or be shown the door. Cody Kaiser, one of the announcers on Sunday, said Bradbury had been struggling all season. I thought he'd been playing pretty well with everything that was happening with the interior offensive line. I think Garrett Bradbury, frankly, has been playing like one of the better centers in the league. Now, obviously, struggling in one-on-one pass protection spots, man-on-man, certainly. Yeah, but that is the trade-off when you have an undersized center who is very prime in movement skills. So he's been phenomenal in the run game. I think he's been phenomenal as a leader. I think he's been great making line calls. But also, I mean, can we get like a better left guard for him? Also, Ezra is a left tackle. He's not really a right guard. So can we just do that, please? Yeah. Atso Mikinen. This team has a great future, but I think something needs to change if this team wants to win a Super Bowl. Coaching changes might be needed, but Spielman has done an amazing job finding talent. Skull. Agree with the Spielman part. Grooming a quarterback of the future, as well as just finding a way. Like, I get that Spielman doesn't have final say about who plays on Sunday, but got to do better than Dakota Dozier. I mean, come on. Got to do better than Pat Elflein, who was then waived, but... yeah. Coaching changes. I mean, the Vikings can win with this formula. I know everyone criticizes this whole conservative bend but don't break. You need to go out and score 50 points a game. But if the Vikings had full personnel healthy, I mean, you can win with this. I mean, the defense isn't going to give up 30 points a game, and ergo, the offense can continue to run the ball with Dalvin Cook. And you've seen that the Vikings can be one of the best running teams in the league, if not the best. And then you got Jefferson and Thielen. Like, I understand that Justin Herbert is going 5 wide and just like chucking all over the yard, and that's appealing. But I mean, the style play works if everything is working. But since it didn't, it's not. I'm a big Northwestern fan, and their best cornerback, Greg Newsome, the second, declared for the draft recently. I know corner is a big need for the Vikings compared to other positions, but he's very good and made first team All Big Ten. Would be a day 2 or early day 3 pick. What do you think about the Vikings taking a chance on him? Yeah, him going out with the injury in the Big Ten title game, like that changed things. It was a full 180, right? Now, Newsome obviously wasn't going to stop Trey Sermons in the running game, but yeah, they made life very difficult for Justin Fields. But yeah, Newsome is pretty damn solid. Probably is going to be in that day 2 mix. I mean, maybe, but if it's in the right spot, I wouldn't be opposed to it, to be honest. Kevin Ace. I did some more draft work. Also, I have thought since day 1 that Harrison Hand would be a decent safety if they wanted to move him. So, no. Kevin Ace. Did some more draft work on the quarterbacks. I can see 10 to 12 future stars, and here's my Vikings quarterback big board. Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, Lance, Mac Jones, Ritter, Kyle Trask. Ooh, I like it. Derek King, Dustin Crum from Kent State, Ian Book, Kellen Mond, Jamie Newman. I'm pretty good with this. Like, I would almost put Zach Wilson above Justin Fields. I understand that's extremely controversial, but there is so much about his pocket awareness that I am just freaked out by. I am just. I understand it is a big gamble. You're taking the small school kid. Who did Zach Wilson play? Well, look who he's playing with as opposed to who Justin Fields is playing with. Then get back to me. But yeah, big fan of Trey Lance. I might put Ritter above Mac Jones, where I think Mac Jones is perfectly fine, capable. I think his ceiling is Andy Dalton. I don't think he'll exceed that. Kyle Trask, I have concerns about. Derek King, I think I might be the only guy in America who likes Derek King. I mean, there is just something about his grittiness and all the intangibles that just like, hey, I'm going to drag you back. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be this, not going to be that. But there's a reason why I started in high school, and Kyle Trask is my backup. Woo! That's right. Josh Dixon. Also, what would you be willing to trade in order to move up to number 1 pick in order to get Trevor? 4 ones. If you want to go down that route, if you want to get nuts, let's get nuts. Oakview. Do you think this team could have made another run if we kept all the vets from last year, such as Griffin, the corners? Maybe. But also, if this team would have underachieved, like if the Vikings of last year ended up 6-8 this year, just say carry over the roster, then you would have been in a blow it up spot, and then there's a lot more variables, a lot more questions about the future of this team. But now, I mean, this young 6-8 team, future is extremely bright. You have Jefferson, you have Dantzler, you have Gladney, you have DJ Wanham. You have a lot of young guys that you're really excited about. So, yeah, I'll take the growing pains with a young team as opposed to with some veterans. And I know it does hurt, especially since Everson's had some success this year. Same thing with Xavier Rhodes. Same thing with Linval has done decent with the Chargers, as well as Mac Alexander has had himself a couple of nice games. But it is always better to let go of a player a year early than a year too late. It just is. Looney Tooney. There's more of that. Also, your reaction to Yannick not making the Pro Bowl and make it so we just got pushed down our pick 1 round. Not making the Pro Bowl, not making the Pro Bowl. Wait, so he didn't make the Pro Bowl. So, yeah, I'm fine. I think it's funny, though. It's one of the great things in sports where Packers fans and Bears fans and Lions fans and Jaguars fans were just trying to get him in. Looney Tooney. You keep saying our DBs are good, clearly not letting up plays to Trubisky. Well, do you think part of that might have been the lack of pass rush? I mean, if you give any quarterback in the National Football League 5+ seconds, they're going to tear you apart, right? Cameron Dantzler played himself a good game. Gladney had himself a decent game as well. So, why not? Just saying that they're not good isn't backed up by the data as well as having eyeballs. So, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Sean Scrimshaw. Who picked off Trubisky in the end zone in that big time spot? What happened there? Who gave up 1 catch in coverage? Well, what about that? But Sean Scrimshaw. If Dennison is back next year, is there? It was the middle of the field open because Eric Kendricks wasn't there. I mean, you talked about DBs like they're the only ones in coverage. I mean. Is Dennison back next year? Is there any point of picking O-line around 1 Dennison, blah, 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 blah? They'll have to have a long conversation because I could see merits of bringing him back and not because merits bringing him, yes, the run game has been phenomenal. I mean, the Vikings have fully bought into that outside zone scheme that brought in the personnel. And, of course, he's an OG teacher of the system. But the pass protection's got to get fixed. And he cannot be so stubborn to continually trot out a combination that's clearly not working. Dozier was not working from day one. Samia was not working from day one. It took him 4 games and a freak injury to get him out of there. So, yeah. Kevin Ace. Did you watch Desmond Ridder video when he was mic'd up in practice? If not, you should watch your reaction to it. It was fun to watch. I really love his confidence, how much he interacts with his teammates. I didn't watch it, but I do know that he is very much a team-first guy. Teammates love him. Teammates would go to his birthday party, dropping a draft day reference, and there's just so much to like. I mean, the kid is just gritty. He's a winner. He's mature. I believe he's married. So, I mean, yeah. It's such a weird thing, man. Going into draft profiles where you talk about arm strength and accomplishments and wins and all of this stuff and 40 time, and then you get into like the psychosis stuff. Is like, well, he has his degree, but he does this or he doesn't do that, and he gets around, or he's married, or he has or he has a kid, and he's devout, or he's he's hanging out in the bars. Like the whole. When Justin Blackmon was coming out of Oklahoma State, like some teams sent private investigators to just watch him go into bars and just stay. Right? So, I mean, it's great. Like, I get it, man. Multi-million-dollar investment, especially at the top end of the draft. But, yeah, it's crazy. But I love me some Desmond Ridder. I do. Him against Georgia, God, it's going to be a great game. That's going to be a big-time test. Arfree. Where is all the draft capital, Rick? Where is all the draft capital Rick always talks about from the past few years? We usually pick around 10 players a year. That we actually need them, but we're starting UDFAs that were available mid-season. I don't know. John Anderson TV. So I'm a little unsure how Kirk Cousins' contract works. Is it if we have to cut him before the end of the year? Well, if he's on the roster by the third day of the new league year, which is in March, that means his 2022 salary of $35 million is fully guaranteed. Let me pull that up. Shamona. Or is the site down? All right, so Cousins got a $21 million base salary next year. That is fully guaranteed. So if they cut him, they have to pay that out. They have to carry that against the cap unless he was claimed off of waivers, which he probably won't do. If they cut him, there was going to be the offseason, so there won't be any waivers. But, yeah, if he's on the roster the third day of the new league year, his 2022 base salary of $35 million becomes fully guaranteed. So the Vikings would have a $45 million cap hit on Kirk in 2022. So, yeah. Yeah. Now, what could happen is that they could tack on one non-guaranteed year to his contract just to spread out the cap hits. So they'd restructure one of his base salaries into a roster bonus and that carry into the future years. So, I mean, there's always ways around the cap. Hashtag cap is a myth. But, yeah, the money spent, I mean, you have to take it up against the cap at some point. Now, you can mitigate that by spreading it out over multiple years, or if you can take it all in 1 year. All right. Next up. Samuel Halverstadt. How did Michael Pierce opt out affect his contract? It just rolled it over. It just kicked it down, just kicked the can. He got a $350,000 stipend because he was a high-risk opt-out because of his asthma. I don't believe keeping him is the best move. He is 29, probably gained a few since he's a nose, good in shape and putting on good weight. That is a valid concern. But I don't think they can just outright cut his contract because I think he had like $16 million in guarantees. Let's look. I mean, plus you have to pay him anyway. So retaining Michael Pierce, 18 guaranteed. 18 million guaranteed. Yeah, so his entire contract just got kicked back a year. All right, so signing bonus at 2020 salary. So he's got $3 million guaranteed next year. That signing bonus is guaranteed as well. As 2021 salary guarantees on the third day. All right, so that kicks back a year, so 2022. The verbiage down at the bottom, so it's a little bit tough to follow. But, Josh Dixon. Would you rather stick with Zimmer as head coach or try to move on for a more modern offensive coach? Well, I would gamble with the new coach. I mean, make a run at Lincoln Riley, make a run at Art Smith, make a run at Eric Bieniemy, but they're going to stick with Zimmer. Westworld, Jalen Holmes has been very underwhelming. Yeah, he hasn't been great. But, I mean, you knew that when you drafted him in the fourth round. You drafted a guy who, at best, would be a rotational piece. I mean, a guy who didn't have the size to hold up inside, didn't have the speed to be a consistent threat on the edge. Little known perfection. Desmond Ritter one time, folks. P.S. Been here since 2017. It's cool that you got this big. Hey, thank you. And yeah, I do love me some Desmond Ritter, man. I'm a little bit worried, but what's going to happen is that Desmond Ritter in Cincy is going to put the bang thing on Georgia, and then all of a sudden his draft stock is going to whoosh. Maybe he's a high second round pick, and we're just like, son of a. Hunter Williams. Hey, keep up the good work. Production value. Skull from Savage. Skull out there. I heard Marvin Lewis is looking for a job. Should Marvin Lewis look for a job in Minnesota? Would you take Wentz? Yeah, we're working on a video about Marvin Lewis potentially coming to Minnesota, which I don't know. Would you take Wentz? No, absolutely not. Darius Martin. Love your videos, bro, and hope you have a Merry Christmas. Back at you. What do you think of this team next year with the defense getting key players back and the secondary getting more experience? Prohibitive Super Bowl favorites. But for sure, they're going to be a force in the division, one of the better teams in the NFC. Absolutely. Especially if they get the offensive line fixed. Could you imagine if Kirk Cousins actually had time? You have Jefferson, Thielen, and Irvin, Gronk, and oh my, let's go. Also, hey, let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple shout-outs. Sammer Salinger Skull. The worst thing about this season is that the refs cost us 3 games. Dallas, Tampa, Sunday. Tampa for sure. Dallas, yeah. Sunday, yeah. Question, do you think that was a helmet-to-helmet on third down versus Kirk? Because I think it was Harrison Smith helmet-to-helmet. I mean, yeah, he hit him. The Bears defender hit Kirk in the head with the shoulder. I don't know why they picked up that flag. It's so ridiculous. But still, we're looking forward to next season with Hunter Barr done. Also, who would be your pick in round 1 that might be available? Wyatt Davis or Sam Cosmi? I would prefer Davis since he is actually a legit guard. If you take Cosmi, then either Cosmi or Ezra would be sticking inside, which that's not their natural positions. But Cosmi is a freak, man. Imagine Cosmi and Asai going at it every single day in practice at Texas. That's a lot of fun, man. That's a lot of fun. I mean, Cosmi, he needs some refinement in technical issues, but, I mean, he really is the Ezra and Brian O'Neill of this draft. Absolute physical freaks who need a little bit of polish. Skull Vikings next year will be our year. Damn straight. Evan Conway. Do you see Wanham as a starter or backup in the long-term future? Starter. I think DJ Wanham is going to progress very nicely. I think that within... maybe not next year as a full-time starter, but definitely by year 3. I think he'll be full-time opposite to Neil Hunter. Andy Shong, Pro Bowl snub Eric Kendricks. Even though he's hurt, he still deserves a spot. Yeah, 100%. And since this year it's virtual, so, I mean, guys won't get in as alternates, so it's really unfortunate. But, yeah, Kendricks continually overlooked and underappreciated. He still may get all-pro love. He might be second-team all-pro this year, despite missing these handful of games in the middle. Let's see here. Purple Rain Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Luke Gillette, Cedar Falls. What is up? Patrick Harm, Cedar Rapids. Pulford Skull, Nashville, Tennessee. What's going on? DC, Chi-Town. What's up, babe? You guys are the best. Thank you very much for coming along. Matt Sonnen, Skull from Rockwell City, Iowa. Viking World. Oh, VWO in the house. What is up? There you go. All right, next up is Jared Masiage. Would you be mad if we draft Horn in the first round as an outside cornerback? Probably don't use. J.C. Horn's pretty legit, man. Like, Pride of South Carolina. So I would actually... would I put him above Farley just in terms of long, lengthy press man corner? Man, Farley's pretty good. Farley's really, really good. Man, if they did that, though, people may riot, especially if there's a quarterback on board, especially if there's a key offensive lineman on board. I think that Spielman may have to overrule Zimmer in this spot. Obviously, Zimmer would be in. But the fact that they spent a 1.35 on cornerbacks last year, they'd be like, simmer down. Simmer down now. All right, let's see here. MJ the Goat, Little Falls, what's up? Lamont James, Lamont, you know. Skull from St. Petersburg, Florida, what's up? Al Einstein, Nowlands. I like New Orleans, man. We're making gumbo today for this week's The Hot Dish. I'm really excited. The wife loves the gumbo too, except it's a little annoying. So if you'll notice on some of our recipes that we've really been light-handed with the heat because the wife is a Midwestern Minnesota gringa and she does not take spice well. It's unfortunate. So, but just toss it all on top. Man, I love gumbo. Gumbo's great. Plus, so we got some chicken thighs. We got chicken stock that we made. We got andouille sausage. We got some shrimp too. Come on, son. Let's go. Next up is B4L. Good at reading today. Why don't the Vikings go with the game plan similar to Pittsburgh, where they get the ball out very quick, except run it more? It's a good-looking question. Offensive line issues, as well as you really want to go 5 wide. You really want Chad Beebe out there as much as possible. Now, you could go a spot where you got Thielen and Jefferson and Gronklin and Irv and Dalvin or BC. Sure. Shiver Timbers, getting a third pass rusher on the right side, just set the edge and stop the run, and maybe get a little bit of pressure. Make sure Daniil doesn't get double teamed every single time would be great. I mean, just moving Daniil to that right side, if you take Kwity Paye, because I think Kwity Paye, his best position is going to be left defensive end in the league on the close side. So, I mean, we've been yelling for years. Like, I understand why they keep Daniil on the left side because he's so phenomenal against the run, and he's such a selfless team-first guy that he'll take on extra blockers, he'll take on tight ends, he'll take on mammoth right tackles just to help out the team. But him on the blind side, let's go. Let's go. What should the Vikings do about Mike Hughes? Well, don't pick up his fifth-year option. Next year, bring him back, but not as a cornerback. Have him return punts and kicks. He's a phenomenal punt and kick returner. We did a video like a month ago. It was like, bring him back as a specialist. 1,000%. Tristan Bailey, will the Vikings be a Super Bowl contender next year with everybody coming back? Yes. Yes. Thorvald Johnson, thank you, Andy. You and Allie put on a great show. Hey, thank you. Also, yeah, check out the Teespring store. Producer Allie's been a rock star, working on all that stuff. Jay Hoy. I feel like in the beginning of the season, our secondary was the issue, but now I feel like it's a pass rush. What happened? Well, the secondary got better because, well, they had to, as well as the Vikings got rid of Yannick the Freak. So there went the pass rush. It is so depressing that Yannick is probably going to end up as the sack leader on this team. That's depressing. Jack Martinson, what's your favorite stadium in Minnesota excluding US Bank Stadium? Probably St. Paul Saints Field. So I prefer St. Paul to Minneapolis. Like, Target Field's awesome, but I'm a baseball fan in that I just like being outside. Well, not this year, but just being outside, have a beer, have a dog, hang out with friends, my daughter loves baseball games too. So yeah, the St. Paul Saints Stadium, it's a great looking stadium. It is. Plus, Lower Town is fantastic. Got some great restaurants down there. The Bulldog's fantastic. I mean, hopefully all that stuff is still going to be open after this. But yeah, St. Paul Saints. Oh, actually, I was going to do a power ranking. So taking out US Bank Stadium, which I could take or leave. St. Paul Saints Stadium, the X, TCF Bank Stadium. TCF Bank Stadium is great, man. It's good. The barn will always have a special place in my heart, even though it's kind of it is a dump. Let's be honest. Target Center, instead of renovating the Target Center, they just need to build it brand new, like from the studs up. Like, have the Wolves and the Lynx play at the X for a year, just completely rebuild. It's great real estate, but yeah, they need to just start over with Target Center. It's garbage. Anyways, next up. Pulford Skull, Pro Football Talk said Mike Zimmer is on the hot seat and believes he could be fired. Baloney. I think that, well, Florio just like stirring up poop, and mainly I think it's just a troll PA, or Florio might just be a closet Vikings fan, but no. I think Zimmer has done enough to hold on to his job. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'm looking at it from Spielman and management standpoint. They're going to keep Spielman. Spielman, ergo, is going to keep Zimmer. And also, they don't want to pay out those 3 years on his deal left. So, barring something absolutely shocking or a big name free agent head coach just suddenly becomes available. Maybe they go after Joe Brady. I don't know. Jake Simmons. See Mac Alexander ball out against the Steelers. I was so mad they got rid of him. Well, they didn't really get rid of him. Mac just sort of left because he has issues with the team. Understandably so, but Michael Miller, do you really think Zimmer will draft a quarterback in the first round? It's not his call. Dylan James, Kirk could throw 6 touchdowns in a game and 1 pick, and people still aren't going to talk about the pick. Yeah. I mean, Kirk Cousins really is like politics. People have their minds made up, and they will twist the narrative, twist facts just to suit their own purposes. Is what it is. Tristan, even though, like me, I still question Kirk Cousins. I still wonder if he can get done in high leverage spots, but you have to be an absolute fool to think that after the bye that he has been the issue. Now, he was definitely the issue before the bye, sure, or that his contract at this point is holding the Vikings back from making moves of free agency. It's really not. It's not. You know, it's holding the Vikings back free agency. All the other contracts, Barr, Rudy, Reef, those add up too. Let's see. Tristan, I think we're the Bengals at this point. It seems like the Wilfs care more about selling seats than winning a Super Bowl. Well, they didn't sell any this year. And no, not necessarily. I mean, the Wilfs are the polar opposite from Mike Brown. Like, are you kidding me? Like, the Wilfs help pay for US Bank Stadium, which is almost unheard of it nowadays. They paid for TCO Performance Center. The Vikings have one of the most more highly funded scouting departments, which is extremely underrated. The Vikings assistants, I mean, Kubiak ain't working for free. That's for sure. Zimmer's handsomely taken care of. So, no, the Wilfs are throwing money around. And also, they will hire people and stay out of the way. So, no, I completely disagree with this. It's a stupid assessment. Cyberbully123. Ronnie Perkins out of Oklahoma has been killing it this year. I think he'd be a good fit getting after the pass rusher. There's a lot of really interesting guys that can just get after it. Like, there's not a top-tier edge. Like, there's no Chase Young in this year's draft. But, I mean, there's a lot of guys that have specific talents. But you do question if they can be an every down player. But also, then if you draft him, maybe it won't even play him. Like James Lynch. It's frustrating. Astro Zio, I think we need to go D-line and O-line in the first round and then get a quarterback with potential. Yeah, I agree. If that quarterback's Desmond Ridder, I'm less in on Ian Book. So I thought about it, and I rewatched the Notre Dame Clemson tape. So he's still intriguing, but I don't know, man. Shiver Timbers. I don't think you can judge Trey Lance by competition anymore. He just has a lot of natural talent that you can't teach. Yeah, I mean, the whole, well, look at his competition, but look who he's playing with, too. I mean, there's maybe one other NFL player on NDSU, one of the offensive linemen, maybe. So it's a double-edged sword, man. But that's why you always have to bet on traits as opposed to stats that they put up. I mean, look at Dwayne Haskins. My God. I mean, maturity was the number one red flag on Haskins. That's why he fell in the first round as it is. But he's a guy who's much more selfish. He's much more worried about his good time, his stats, as opposed to the team winning. And, I mean, locker room knows that. Absolute garbage pick. Evan Casconway. I can just imagine Michael Pierce feeling his physical like PJ Hall and us releasing him. Well, if he does that, the Vikings probably save something against the cap because I'm sure that in his contract there's clauses about passing physicals. So, I mean, Pierce should release like an Instagram workout video or something just to make sure that actually we should talk about that. Concerns about Mike Pierce. All right, so we're going to talk about Michael Pierce weight. We're already going to talk about Marvin Lewis. Just like a Yankee swap, reversal of roles. Let's see here. Astro Zio. I think our D will be one of the best next year and be a reflection of 2017. Skull, Merry Christmas. Agree. Merry Christmas back at you. Connor May, what's your plan on Christmas Day? You doing much or will you grind Vikings content? Well, luckily the Vikings Saints don't play until like 3:30. So that'll be nice. But yeah, Christmas Day, kids opening presents, going ape poop. So we have a couple of Christmas traditions. Christmas Eve, we make beef stroganoff, except it's like the high-end stroganoff. You got the braised steak and you make your actual mushroom sauce from scratch, as opposed to dumping out the cans of cream mushroom soup, but certainly have their place. It's Midwestern bechamel. But yeah, then we make biscuits. It's great. Christmas Day, make cinnamon rolls. Yeah, just let them rise and bake. Get after it. Let's go. Let's go. I love Christmas, man. But then, yeah, we'll be back doing normal game stuff. So, yeah. Bennett A. Do you think Darnold coming to the Vikings is possible this offseason? Probably not. Trading for Deshaun? Probably not. Like, he may want out of Houston, but I don't think the new GM is going to part ways with a young, up-and-coming star quarterback who, even with the extension, it's relatively reasonable if you look at the back end. Eric Hansen. So I've been biting my tongue all day long. So annoying, too, where you bite your tongue, and then you just hit it again at a certain point, and it's just like, ugh. Eric Hansen. Bengals beat Steelers, Jets beat Rams. Weird stuff happens this week. Is Browns Vikings Super Bowl really that far-fetched considering the circumstances? Well, I mean, the Vikings got to get in. Win out. Arizona lose out. Chicago drops at least one game. Let's go. Stanley Steamer. Merry Christmas, Carlsons. Merry Christmas. For the Cheddar captain, sleep number 8 was given expected. Was a run through the playoffs, a bust. If you don't want to blame effing Kirk, then Rick is the problem. Between Rick, Kirk, Zim will always be okay. I'm effing tired of okay. Thoughts on Darnold? Skull. Cool. Hutter Butter. I thought that Adam was in the Pro Bowl over DK. No. But, well, he may have gotten more. No, he didn't get more votes. I think he's the number one vote getter. Bennett, I really like Dantzler and Gladney. Do you think we should still draft a quarterback this year in the later rounds? Yes. Why not? Or is there a player we could pick up in the offseason this year? Mac Alexander, baby, come back. Shiver Timbers, the fact that Yannick Ngakoue finished the season leading the Vikings in sacks is so embarrassing. It is. It really, really is. Zach Farmer, what are the odds Jones and Trask go day one? Or what would they have to show to be drafted day one? I think the hay is already in the barn. Since, big-time stats isn't really going to wow or sway decision makers. But they have shown that they can compete well against high-end competition, like the highest of college competition, but also surrounded by the highest of college competition. And Trask, I think that the movement skills, the lack of pocket awareness, sometimes his mechanics go. Also, the very much the spread option offense that does concern you. I think there's fewer questions about Mac Jones, even though Jones does have better talent around him. I think that him playing in a pro-style system under Saban, him being a great distributor of the football, I think that would translate better. Is he going to be a first-round pick? No, neither of them scream first-rounder to me. They just don't. Maybe Jones at the back end of the first round. Maybe, say, Pittsburgh wants to get their quarterback of the future. Actually, maybe they go Trask there. Even though it's ironic that Trask is kind of like Mason Rudolph. It's like Kyle Rudolph. Or a team trading up in the back end of the first round. Maybe, but odds, I'd say 20% Jones goes in the first round, 10% Trask at this point. Andrew Dreisbach. The front four's lack of pressure put our corners in bad position immediately. Put Lynch besides Pierce and draft another DN to back up Fadi. Biggest weakness I saw in defense this year, all year. Yeah. A good pass rush does cover up a lot of stink on the back end. And even when the back end's playing well, it can be exposed if you just cannot get anything going up front. And I don't think that's lack of a plan, lack of coaching, lack of teaching. At a certain point, you just don't have enough talent. It is what it is. MJ the GOAT. Do we try on Christmas just in case the 49ers win, or should we just tank just in case the 49ers win? No, you never tank. Never tank. Like Mekhi Becton calling out Jets fans because Jets fans are pissed about a win. Now, I get it. If you're that late in the season and you're vying for the number one overall pick, I get it if you're Jets fans. But, I mean, Vikings fans calling for the team to tank at week 6, no, that's baloney. That's baloney. As long as you got breath in your lungs, keep fighting. Vikings still have an outside shot at the playoffs. Keep fighting. Plus, play to win the game. Players will always play to win the game. Coaches will always coach to win the game. So, I don't know what you're crying about. Carson Harlow. How'd you feel if we traded up to get Zach Wilson if he fell? Good. Atso Mikan. Love the vid. Skull back at you. Goat Key Cameron Dantzler is a freaking stud. PFF's number 1 graded cornerback week 8 and beyond. Since week 8. Since week 7. Whatever. Tristan Bailey. Who do you think won't be back next year? Dozier. Jaleel Johnson. His contract expires. Hope they bring Todd Davis back as a backup. I think Kyle Rudolph might be done. I think with Gronklin and Irv and the cap savings, I think he might be done. I think Anthony DeBar has to take a pay cut. I think Reef has to take a pay cut, even though he's played well this year. Yeah. B. Woodall. The big snub that wasn't from the Vikings is probably Ryan Tannehill not being voted in. Yeah, that's fair. No, James Robinson not getting in. That's rough, man. Astro Zio. Wouldn't it be ironic if we're talking the offseason right now and they're somehow in the playoffs and win the Super Bowl? Would love to see it. MKS Conaway. Any corners available in free agency, not within the Vikings price range. Thorvald Von Johnson. If the Pizza Ranch dictator's ego is really so fragile as you joke about, and you know that drafting Lance is guaranteed to tank Cousins for the next 2 years, do you still draft Trey Lance? Well, I don't know if it would tank Cousins. I actually think it may motivate him because Kirk, competitive guy, he actually played his best when he was reading his press and people calling him out, and Angry Kirk was great. So if drafting the heir apparent lights a fire under Kirk's ass, because he has never had a quarterback behind him that could take his job conceivably. So it actually may benefit the Vikings. So bring that on. Patrick Harms, Andre Patterson should be drooling over Davion Dixon. Should be drooling over a number of these guys. Anwuzurike, Patrick Robinson. I mean, Asai. There's a lot of really good guys in this draft. And I understand. I understand Rousseau. I get it. It's a big gamble, though. It is. Abisa Warika. How about Nate Stanley? Nobody talks about him. I think we just try and start him. No. Plugs. What do you think about Nate Stanley? I think he's more mobile than Cousins. Based on what? His 40? No. I mean, if you watch any of Nate Stanley at Iowa and then you watch Kirk Cousins, one guy cannot move and the other guy is Kirk Cousins. Plugs. Looked at our schedule for next year. We played 10 plus playoff teams. Probably going to have another disappointing season. No. M. Cascadaway. If Kyle Pitts falls to us, do we take him? God, that'd be super intriguing. So you already have 2 tight ends that you like for the future. And pending what happens with Kyle Rudolph. But Pitts isn't really a tight end. Pitts is basically just a tall receiver. Depends what else is on board. But it would be tempting. Connor Main, is Sam Darnold that bad? I don't watch them, but know they get barrel line talents around. He hasn't been done any favors. If he gets a better offensive line around him, I actually think that he has a ton of talent and upside, and which may be why if they don't get the number 1 overall pick, they may trade 2, maybe even 3, and not 2. Yeah, because the Bengals won. Yeah, so they may trade the number 2 overall pick. Chase Heffel. Thielen's going to get 3 times as many targets against Saints as he did against the Bears, right? So he only had 2 targets against the Bears, maybe 3. I don't know about 3 times, maybe 2 times. Westworld, what are the chances we end up with Jamar Chase? 0.1. I don't think he gets by the Eagles. I think they're we are not making this mistake thrice. MKS Conway, would you rather Kirk or Mariota? At the respective price points, Mariota. But if price is not a factor for 1 year next year, Kirk. Shiver Timbers, early Christmas if you celebrate that. Merry Christmas to you. Let's see here. Bennett A. Do you think we should try to keep Anthony Harris? He's played quite average this year. I actually think he's played great. Is there a free agent safety you would pick up or somebody you would like to draft? Well, problem is that any free agents that would be an upgrade over Anthony Harris will be damn expensive. And, I mean, Anthony Harris hasn't had interceptions this year, hasn't had the ball hawking like he's had the last 2 years, but that's because he's had a lot more responsibilities on the back end as opposed to just cherry picking and playing coverage. So I actually think he's played great. Also, I think that his value may be down a little bit. So if the Vikings could work out 2-year extension with him for, I don't know, $9 million per year, $8 million per year, absolutely bring him back. Saxon Melberg. Why do fans still blame Kirk for some of these losses when the defense and O-line has been terrible? People just get stuck in a groove. Randy Moss is the boss. Let's go. Justin Jefferson was selected for a Pro Bowl. Too bad he won't get to because we're going to be Super Bowl. Well, they're not playing the Pro Bowl this year anyway. It's going to be like some online event. Jacob Mejia Megat. Who do you see leaving the team this offseason? I already covered that. Zach Ballas. Do you like Home Alone 3? I did, but I think, and you don't. I don't think I saw it. But Scarlett Johansson in that movie? Yeah. Ben A. Should and will we keep Barr? At a pay cut, yes. Yes. Connor May, with quarterback position, we drafted quarterback 100%. No question. But also, I've thought, should we bring back... No. Derp E, should we who should we resign or sign in free agency? Resign Eric Wilson. RFA, Tender, Boone, and Hercules. And then sign Joe Thuney. Just go for it. Let's go. Formal review. Thoughts if Derek King declares. I think he's similar to Russell Wilson on size, numbers, etc. I think he's out of eligibility. Let's check that because pretty sure he was a grad transfer from Houston. Although the NCAA is a joke anyway. I don't know why anyone pays attention to them. Yeah, it's a retro freshman journal. I don't know. Maybe they give him a medical red shirt for 2019. Maybe. But yeah, I think he's out of eligibility. But you never know with the NCAA. But I'm super intrigued by Derek King. I know that a lot of people don't like him, but I love him. Lil Choo Choo. I have a strong feeling this team is going to be 13-3 next year. It will only happen, though, if we get one more stud offensive lineman. Maybe just another quarterback from free agency, because why not? Hell yeah, especially on the O-line thing. Sion. Do you think next year we'll be one of the best teams in the NFL? Yes. We'll get crucial star players back, and we have a good pick. We could use another O-line, D-line. I really believe next year is the year the Vikings take the next step. And then Kirk Cousins wins Super Bowl, and then just give them all the money. Don't even care at that point. Coach Figgy, what offensive scheme would you say the Vikings have? Meat and potatoes, old school. One that suits the personnel, but if you get down by 10 points in the game, it can be rough. Ibisa Warika, who is Allie? She's a producer. She's a rock star. She's not my wife. I mean, we get that question a lot. That Hubus TZ, Josh Allen, greater than Kirk Cousins. You paid $5 to say that? Say it again. Actually, say it 10,000 times. We'll do that. But that's it. That is the last live stream of the week. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to take the rest of the week off for the holiday and yours. You guys are the best. Keep Skull alive. Beat the Saints' ass on Sunday. Whew. Love to see it. You guys are the best. Subscribe if you haven't already. Keep up with the other content. And we'll talk to you Friday. Skull, production value.